So first up is Alan Anderson. He's a member of our chapter and a member of Northfield Rotary's climate action team, and he's active in many aspects of advocating for a livable climate. And today he'll be talking about the work he's done with Rotary to talk to local installers of HVAC equipment about climate-friendly heat pumps. So I'm going to stop sharing and let Alan take over with the screen.
Thank you very much. And let's see if I can have technology work for me. So just relative to things that any of us can do is be the spark plug. Back in 2017, our Rotary Club had a visioning meeting for what our club priorities should be. And at the meeting, I just suggested climate action should be one of our priorities. And that actually ended up getting the most votes, at which point the president promptly appointed me chairman of the new climate action team. And since the beginning, we've grown from 3 members in 2017 to 32 members of our 150-member Rotary Club. And we've done a whole bunch of different things. But tonight I want to talk about a particular discussion. As we've done a lot of different things, we're always thinking about what more can we do? And we asked ourselves, what can we do in our little town of 20,000 that would actually reduce carbon emissions? And among the answers, which would have the biggest impact? And our conclusion, and of course, you as knowledgeable climate activists know that home heating is one of our biggest sources of emissions for any family, and their car is probably number 2. So we decided we should work on both these things. And so in EVs, we partnered with various organizations to host ride and drive events. And so many people discovered after driving an EV for the first time that they really love it. And they get very interested in having their next vehicle be an EV. And our next event is this fall. But I wanted to talk a little more tonight about our heat pumps. Heat pumps, to qualify for a heat pump and any rebates and grants from utilities or state or federal government, a family must first get an energy audit and do the weatherization. So our team partnered with Habitat for Humanity to help especially low-income families get an energy audit and then get the work recommended by the audit done, including our club offering as much as $4,000 per household for low-income families to do the work. And a lot of it is sealing cracks, a little bit more insulation, and so forth. And for families that discover that they have a lot more things to work on, we've also been able to line up low-interest home improvement loans for them. So heat pumps. As we began working on how can we get more people interested in cold Minnesota to get interested in heat pumps. And we've done a lot of tabling in our community and on Earth Days and at Saturday farmers markets, educating people. But we realized that we were talking to lots of people who may not be prospects, and really not that many people. And we realized if we could convince HVAC contractors, who are the ones who actually sell gas furnaces and heat pumps, to become promoters of heat pumps, that they would reach every new buyer in town. So we have 4 local HVAC contractors, and we put together a team and went and met individually with each of those contractors. And we actually brought them information that they were not aware of on a number of different levels about heat pumps and the grants that were available from Xcel Energy and the state. And at the time when we were pushing hard on this, from the federal government to install heat pumps. And we've invited those contractors to come and do tabling at events like Earth Day and so forth. And now all four of them, I don't know if it's their first offer, but all four of them now offer and sometimes encourage at least people learning about heat pumps. And one contractor has installed dozens of new heat pumps since we got him fired up. And we've also shared with them that Xcel Energy, and this is something that I just learned about this year. I've had a heat pump for 3 years, but I only learned this year that Xcel Energy offers half price kilowatts if you heat primarily with electricity. And so in my case, I still have a gas furnace as a backup for bitterly cold days, but my heat pump does about 80% of my heating. So now, with just a simple phone call to Xcel, between October and May, I get half price kilowatts. Instead of 13 cents a kilowatt, it's 6.5 cents per kilowatt for 100% of my electric use, not just my heating. So it's quite a tremendous incentive that the HVAC contractors can promote when they're looking to sell heat pumps. And so as I was thinking about this, I was thinking about what climate reality teams could do if they could do something similar. And really you could, you could put together a simple brochure, have teams target the 2 or 3 HVAC contractors closest to them, make an appointment, hold the meetings, afterwards do debriefs so that you can improve presentations, outcomes, and answering objectives, and then have somebody tracking all those appointments with the goal of getting as many heat pump contractors as possible to become promoters of heat pumps. And with that, I think I'll hold questions until after our next presenter, or whatever you say.
So Nicola Philpott leads the plant-rich diets team in our chapter, and she's active locally in many climate and food initiatives, some of which you heard about earlier tonight already. And she has a PhD in biochemistry and molecular biology.
Thanks, Anna. Okay, so for anyone that doesn't know me, I'm Nicola Philpott. I'm originally from the UK. I moved to the US 27 years ago to New York City to work in scientific research. And I've been a climate activist for about 10 years. And in those 10 years, I've performed a lot of climate action, from lobbying in DC with Citizens Climate Lobby to buying an electric vehicle. I've organized lots of educational events, transitioned to solar energy in my home, and also I've bought a heat pump. And when I moved to the Twin Cities 2 years ago, I decided that I really wanted to focus my climate action on expanding the availability of plant-based food. And I'm really interested in empowering others to take climate action through plant-based eating. So I'm going to talk about a climate-friendly meal program that I started at a shelter in Minneapolis. And then I want to talk a little bit about building community through climate-friendly eating, and then what we're doing in the plant-rich diet action team. So when I moved back to Minnesota 2 years ago, I wanted to find a job. But I had been out of paid work for about 13 years, so I didn't know what I was going to do. I'd been a volunteer climate activist for Citizens Climate Lobby for 10 years. And also I thought about what else I'd been doing. And every day, 3 times a day for over a decade, I'd been making plant-based meals for my family. And so I decided to look for somewhere to cook for these similar plant-based meals for the community. And I found Simpson Housing Services. And Simpson's is a shelter for people experiencing homelessness in Minneapolis. They were looking for volunteer prep cooks to help the chef prepare meals for the shelter guests. And so I volunteered. And soon after my first prep cook shift, the volunteer coordinator contacted me and asked if I could get a group of friends together to prepare and serve a whole meal. Well, I was new to the Twin Cities at the time, so I didn't know anyone, and I definitely didn't know very many people that were plant-based like me. And if I was going to make a meal, it was really important to me that it would be plant-based. But I had met a couple of people at a plant-based potluck and a bike crawl, and I reached out to them and asked if they'd like to make a meal with me. And they said they'd like to give it a go. So at this point, we thought we were preparing a one-off meal, but it went so well. We had a really fun time in the kitchen, and the shelter guests really loved our food. So that's the most important thing, right? So with the backing of a local vegan organization called Compassionate Action for Animals, we started providing one meal per month. And Compassionate Action for Animals also organized fundraisers and helped me get volunteers to the kitchen. So in the kitchen, we have a whole array of volunteers. It's not just vegans. There are environmentalists that want to reduce their own personal carbon footprint and learn about plant-based cooking. We have students that want volunteer hours, and we also have people that just love to cook. So something I've learned since I've been cooking in the kitchen, we usually prepare lunches for about 40 people. Is that when you cook for a lot of people, there are lots of food allergies, intolerances, and dietary preferences. So you have a choice. You can make lots of different meals to suit every dietary issue, or you can make one universal meal that everyone can eat, and that meal is always plant-based. So the staff at Simpsons really appreciated our consistency in providing a meal every month. And the in-house chef has been encouraging us to provide more meals as often as we can. So now in 2026, we're providing 3 meals every month. And it's a simple but impactful way to make a difference in the lives of people experiencing homelessness. As a bonus, the more meals that we cook, the more time, energy, and fun the Simpsons can devote towards their mission of housing, supporting, and empowering people that are impacted by homelessness. So the chef can see that we're changing hearts and minds when it comes to plant-based eating. They tell her what they really think about our food. And she started to make more plant-based meals because of our program becoming quite a success. And so starting this year, all Friday lunches are now completely plant-based, even when we're not there to cook them. The chef understands the connection between food and climate, and making plant-based universal meals means that everyone can eat them. So that's my little story about Simpsons, but I just want to say some little bits about building community around climate-friendly eating, because I'm really enthusiastic about building bridges to other people around food. And every month I organise a plant-based potluck at my local brewery. I reserve a whole room for people to get together, share food, and get recipe ideas in a relaxed and friendly environment. These events are all free to attend, and everyone's welcome, whether you're an omnivore, a vegan, a vegetarian, a flexitarian. It's a great opportunity to try some plant-based food if you haven't tried much before. And actually, we have a potluck tomorrow night if you're interested. And then the next one will be March 12th. They start at 6:30 at Unmapped Brewing Company in Minnetonka. So I'm also interested in strengthening and expanding my social circles with climate-friendly food for the sake of the planet, but also to build bridges for the sake of our democracy. And I want to encourage you all to do the same. So these photos show some of the food that my family have prepared for our plant-based sort of parties is a strong word, get-togethers for family and friends. It shows a grill out with plant-based food last summer. And then I was recently quite inspired by an Ezra Klein podcast. So this weekend, I'm inviting all my neighbours for tea and cake. The cake was from Vegan East, so it's vegan. And I need to tell you that I don't know many of these neighbours. There's definitely a couple of them that I've never spoken to. There's several that I don't know the names of. And so I really wonder who's going to show up, and we'll see how it goes. It's really important to me that I start to learn the names and get to know my neighbours that live in my street. And so here we go. Right. So Nick, this is my last slide. According to Project Drawdown, one of the most effective climate actions that we can take is to adopt a plant-rich diet. So our Minnesota chapter of Climate Reality has set up a plant-rich diet action team. So for inspiration, every month we share plant-based recipes for you to try. You're invited to the plant-based potlucks, and we also organize dine-outs. So if you want to join the Plant Rich Action team, please reach out to me. And if you have any ideas about how we can expand or make plant-based food more accessible to people, then please let us know, and we will work on it. Okay, thank you.
Great. Thank you, Nicola. Great. All right. Now let's have at it with your questions. I'll just open this up.
Hey, Anna, this is Bill. Got a question for Alan, which, I really liked both your and Nicola's presentation, so thanks for that. It was great. On the XL Energy half kilowatt price, when you look at that and you pay for electricity for your heating with that reduced rate, and when you apply it to 100% of your electrical, that sounds great. How does the math work out in comparison to if you had been burning natural gas?
So I just actually did that homework, and so beginning this October is the first time I've been on the half rate. And the first full year of having a heat pump, I probably reduced my gas by 80%, but I increased my overall my overall utility bill by about $100. And my assumption is that this year I'll be money ahead of that because of the half rate. That answer your question? Yeah. Oh, Bill, you're on mute.
Okay, here we go. Thanks, Alan. That answers my question. That's really pretty cool and compelling for more people to know about that. Not only can you do something for the climate, but you can do it and possibly economically better for your home budget. So that's
yeah. I think probably many people know that what most of the utilities say is if you're heating with baseboard electric, propane, or fuel oil, and you switch to a heat pump, you'll definitely come out ahead financially. But if you're heating with natural gas, it might be break even or cost you a little bit more.
Yeah.
But now with the half price for 8 months of the year, you can't lose.
Yeah, that's great. I'm going to look into it. That's really a neat equation. So great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. Hey, Mark, I see you've got your hand up.
Also, in relationship to Bill's question, I'm a near Minnesotan. Anna, thank you for letting me join. I think we shared some emails. I do some solar advocacy over in the Moorhead, Fargo area, so I'm really nearly Minnesotan. We travel out towards Tamarack National Refuge quite a bit. It's kind of our escape area. So that's my little intro because I'm a new face here. I thought it might be helpful. Alan, to the Xcel Energy thing, do you know if that's offered to all states or is that a Minnesota thing? Because I know things vary.
I'm sad to say that I don't know the answer to that one.
I'll look into it for myself then.
I do know though that if you have solar panels and you're set up with net metering in Minnesota, that they're still paying me the retail rate for the power I send to the grid, but they're only charging me now half price for the money for the kilowatts I use. So If you have solar, it's a double win.
I do, but they don't pay as nicely in North Dakota as they do in Minnesota. This I
Probably
figured
not.
out from my neighbors. I have friends over in Moorhead who have a similar setup, and their bill was more generous than mine was from our utility.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Claude.
Hello, Anna and Nicola. The reasons that I came here is that you are here, and I thought I'd follow you to this organization. I know them from CCL, Citizens Climate Lobby. Alan, I've started looking because we have a very aging HVAC system that does the old system get used as the backup, or do you have to put in a new system typically with a new heat pump installation?
I think that varies based on the age of your furnace. If it's my furnace was almost 25 years old, so I actually ended up getting a new gas furnace, but I could get a smaller one, and then it's my backup. And I guess the bad news, good news about climate change is that I will be using the gas less and less.
Well, and that's our plan too, actually. So I've gone to Excel's website, and I don't see where they have a list of, maybe it's I'm too lazy to do my own research. A list of approved contractors that are familiar with, with heat pumps in particular. So, what is your suggestion on something like that? Just
There's a it's not an Excel group, but it's a I can get you, there's an organization which is of contractors that do heat pumps that are certified, and they have their own website, and it's escaping me, but I could send it to Anna and she could send it out.
that would be wonderful. That would greatly help, because I don't think I'm going to go to 10 places. But I have an acquaintance. I don't know him extremely well, but I've known him for a while, and he's disappointed a little bit with his heat pump installation. Too frequent defrosting cycles and a little bit more noise than he had anticipated. And then he winds up using, I think he has electric backup, and he uses that a lot more than he thought he would, the resistance.
And one of the things that's very, very important is having a certified contractor, because if they put in a heat pump that's too big or too small, both of those are bad, and be less efficient than the right size for your home. So you want a contractor who's really going to come in and look at your home and learn about your home and the square footage and the insulation before they decide what size. And then you want to make sure that they're giving you a highly rated Energy Star cold climate heat pump.
Yes, and that's sometimes the problem is that in the sizing part, they don't necessarily do the right thing. And I'll tell you why, because I was on another Zoom and I mentioned this person was dissatisfied. Now I forget what the manufacturer was. So while I was talking, he went online and he said, yeah, they make heat pumps for moderate climates, and it was like, oh, geez. So that's what I'm trying not to wind up with, is that, we're committed to the concept. And then after we do it, we want to be happy with it and not kind of, geez, it feels good, but, wish we had done it differently. Thank you so much, Alan. Very good.
I'll get that list, Anna.
Yeah, and Claude, while we were talking, I see that Marjorie put a link in the chat to an Excel resource for
Oh, very good. Thank you so much.
installers. And I'm going to put in a plug for Reality Hub. So Claude, I don't know if you're a member of our group or not, but this would be a perfect question to ask people on our Reality Hub social media network. It's like, hey, I live in this region. I'm interested in the heat pump. Who has a good recommendation? And then other people can let you know their
Okay,
recommendations.
thank you.
So, okay, Tim, I think you're up next.
Yeah, a couple of comments and a question for Ellen. If you go to our Reality Hub space, we actually have the link with the numbers where you call to get the discounted rate from Excel. So that's in there. It's one of their earlier messages. There's a couple of follow-up messages. There's also a thing, I think it's called the Minnesota Air Source Heat Pump Collaborative or something like that.
That's
That's
it.
what you're looking for. That link's there too. And on top of that, they currently have a calculator that you could estimate if you're going to save or not save money by going with an air source heat pump. Now, my question for Ellen is, what do you have your heat pump set for? In other words, I've heard that if you set it to around 30 degrees, 35 degrees, at that point you save money. Once you go below about 25 degrees for it, then you start losing money. So I'm just curious.
Mine is set at 20.
Okay, there you go.
I wanted to do it was interesting when I decided to get a heat pump. I called all 4 local contractors to get a bid and to find out how they would respond. And all 4 of them said, well, do you heat with natural gas? Yes. Oh, you don't want a heat pump. But after we met with them about it, and after a kind of a year of working with them, that's not how they answer the phone anymore. And they've sold a lot of heat pumps.
Yeah, I'm also noticing the same thing locally in Twin Cities. A few years ago, when I was trying to get quotes, they didn't want you to do it. But when I finally decided I'm going to do it because the tax credit's expiring, they were gun ho. They have guys out there doing it left and right. So, well, thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Great, thanks. All right, Nicola, you're up next.
I just want to say hi to Claude, and nice to see you. Also, Alan, I was wondering if Rotary give grants for heat pumps. You mentioned something about trying to get heat pumps for low-income communities, maybe organizations and things. Have you thought about that, or have you tried to do that at all?
Well, so what we know is currently available is that the state is still offering as funds remain available, and I think they renew each year. The state was offering $4,000 towards heat pumps, and Xcel Energy offers additional $2,000.
Oh,
And in the case of our little city of Northfield, they offer another $500. And we are still waiting for the Minnesota Department of Commerce to finally tell us what is still going to be available, because they've been telling us, and I just checked on this last week, that they have money and they're waiting for final approval from the Department of Energy. And it's the money that I think is going to still be available is to help low-income families. And if the heat pump money is available, they were offering $8,000. So that's 4,000 or 8,000 plus 4,000 plus 2,000. That's $14,000. That's about the price of a brand new heat pump.
wow, yeah.
So you could, if that all comes to pass and you can get the client and connect the dots, help them navigate it all, a low-income family can literally get a free heat pump installed. So we're still hopeful that some money is going to be available from the feds, but there is still state and utility money available.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump in while you're on that. Also on Reality Hub, I attended a meeting with Commerce, and I have their proposal that they sent to the National. I have it there so you can see exactly what they're proposing.
Yeah, and I think that you can actually just Google the Minnesota Department of Commerce Energy Division and find that proposal. So it's encouraging if the feds cough up some money.
Great. All right, Julie, we'll go to you, and then after that, I'll just read Kathy's question aloud. So, Julie, you're next.
First, I want to thank you both for Nicola, you mentioned the idea, the strength of, and the importance of community, finding community within, creating community within your projects. And I think both you and Alan have represented that happened within your work. And I just think in these times, that's, if through our work we can make that a part of our what we do, that's really powerful. But I had a question, Nicola, when working with people with when educating people about plant-based diets, what are some of the biggest challenges people find with, sort of making a pivot? Is it just sort of understanding how they get protein in their diet, or what are some of the questions that you have?
Yeah. So when Anna and I give these talks, protein often comes up, and I have actually put a bit about health slide in my talk, and people are concerned about protein, and I just have to try to reassure them that there's protein in all the plants that we eat. As long as you eat a varied diet of fruit, vegetables, and grains, then you're getting all the amino acids that you need for a healthy diet. And you don't really need as much protein as the media and frenzy about protein would lead you to believe. I don't personally get very concerned about my quantity of protein or the amount of protein that my kids are eating. People at the shelter never worry about this. I mean, they're just getting one plant-based meal a week. So they're getting their meat at other occasions. And they always really like the food. But yeah, we do get questions about that, and people worry also about processed food. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
So I'm actually going to go on to Kathy's most recent comment. She says, regarding plant-based eating, there's a lot of room for improvement in the meals at assisted living places and nursing homes. So it's another opportunity that we have to impact by contacting fairly few people, we can potentially have a big impact. So yeah, that's right. Nicola, I don't know if you want to address that.
Yes, that's possibly right. I don't have personal experience with nursing homes or assisted living places. But I have been asked from quite a few mutual aid organizations quite recently to provide recipes for a lot of people. So I've been sending my recipes out so people can make cheap plant-based meals for lots of people at the current time. I'm happy to share recipes with anyone who wants them.
And Kathy, I'll also put in a plug for Wholesome Minnesota, which is an organization that works with institutional food service settings to try to get more plant-based meals on their menus. So if you've got a specific assisted living community in mind, maybe put them in touch with Wholesome Minnesota, because that is what Wholesome Minnesota does. And then Kathy also had a question about heat pumps, and she wanted to know, are they suitable for small city lots? She thought it was more of a rural thing.
Heat pumps are actually good almost anywhere, assuming that you own your property. But any size property can benefit from a heat pump, and they come in all sizes depending upon the size of your home. And typically they look like an outdoor air conditioner that just sits next to the exterior of your house. And they work great. And the new ones are whisper quiet. I think my heat pump makes about 1/4 the noise of my old air conditioner.
Great, thanks. Any more questions or comments?
Hey, Anna, this is Bill. Can I, without raising my hand?
Yeah, go for it.
I was hoping to have had something for you and all of us today about the motivating more moderates, and you kind of hit on it at the very beginning when you talked about the advocacy that the leadership team talked about recently. for 2026, and so that whole concept of the motivating more moderates kind of plugs into that's a voter concept to motivate more moderates to vote because they didn't come out in as many numbers as maybe they should have in 2024. So that's the concept behind that. But it's expanded, like you said, to more of a general advocacy concept. And what I will do for next meeting, and Tim and I are kind of working on this right now, is to kind of navigate what you know and the leadership team knows based on the conversation is what are the limits of our 501c, tax aspect, so we don't step outside of the rules of the 501c. And so that's what we're kind of working on, is to find out what we can do to advocate, what we can't do, and that's already been discussed. It's in some of the materials that we have, like in our central kind of repository. But I think we're going to try to run that to ground a little bit more, so we know specific statements we can make and ones we can't. And when we can't go too far, then we might, as individuals, we can do what we want as long as we don't, speak on behalf of climate reality and so on. So we're trying to find out how to navigate that, because it's kind of a weird, kind of a interesting situation we're in, because honestly, last year I kind of lost my motivation around the moderates project because of just a lot of the tumult going on in the political world and other issues. Because of that, climate looked like it was going to take a back seat. But now with what's going on for the midterm elections, it's a kind of a bizarre opportunity for climate that could come from just, what could happen from the midterm elections, whether it could involve a change of majority of the U.S. House, et cetera, et cetera. The two kind of go hand in hand. It's kind of bizarre and sad, but nonetheless, it kind of presents as a possible opportunity for the climate. So how we do that's what I'm going to try to report back and give you next, before next meeting.
Yeah, terrific. Yes, because obviously we want to be as impactful as we can without imperiling our nonprofit status.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, well, we welcome your thoughts on that. Right. We are at the top of the hour, so I'm gonna close the official meeting, but leave everybody on for just a general discussion. And Alan and Nicola, if you're able, please stay on, and we can continue to pepper you with questions, or we can just have a discussion amongst ourselves.